Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Busy day, so I don't have enough time to do the normal kind of videos, so you get a driving video, because I can kill two birds with one stone. Anyways, man, you guys been seeing all these earthquakes? Goodness gracious. I was looking, sorry, this road's pretty rough. I'll slow it down, maybe that'll help. Been like 130 significant earthquakes in the last 7 days. Several over 6.0. One this morning down in Baja, California. They've been all over. Seems like the old planet is kind of waking up a little bit, maybe. Mainly what I wanted to talk to you today, though, is this rail strike stuff. Got an email from a viewer that is a union rail worker, and he was kind of filling me in on kind of behind the scenes stuff, but I saw today in the news, basically everything that he told me is now today in the news, so it's stuff that you can all read yourself. It's not looking good in the sense that, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's 4 unions now, 3 or 4, that have turned down the deal that was originally met or brokered between the Biden administration and the union representatives. So they've taken it to the union workers, and they basically said no, they don't want to have anything to do with it. It looks like one of the unions are kind of 50-50 as to whether or not they're okay with this deal or not. But the other ones are just completely against it. They don't want to have anything to do with this deal, and they are ready to strike. So the deadline is December the 9th. Now, I don't know all the legalities, if that deadline is a hard deadline, or if it can be extended again, or if there can be another cooling off period, which they've already done that once. But from everything that I understand, December 9th is the deadline. Here's the deal. The unions have made an agreement amongst themselves. So the different unions have all agreed that even if one union strikes, the other unions won't cross the picket line. So even if you had a scenario where 3 of the unions said, okay, we'll agree to this, and one union says, no, we won't, and they strike, the other unions won't cross the picket line, and so basically they're all striking. The rail companies have already announced that leading up to December 9th, which is only a couple of weeks away, that they are going to start slowing down services in anticipation of the strike. The rail worker that contacted me said that everyone believes that at least the union representatives, the people in charge of the unions, are telling the rail workers that, you know, your choices is to either come to some agreement, or Congress is going to step in and force the agreement. And he said the problem is the rail workers, they're kind of, and I don't blame them, you know, fighting against that, because if they're forced to, there's going to be some real unhappy rail workers, and probably not great productivity, just a lot of unhappiness. The morale is going to be very, very low if they're forced by Congress to accept a deal. The bottom line is it's a precarious situation. It's not good at all. And I don't know if you would call it a black swan, because typically black swans are things that's not expected. So it's not really that. It is known about. But certainly if this happens, even if one union strikes, this could definitely be very catastrophic to our nation. It could be, I'm not saying it is or will be, I'm saying it could be that straw that breaks the camel's back. The entire economy right now, the supply chain, all of it, is just, it's like it's hanging on by a thread. Myself and many other YouTube channels have talked quite a bit lately about how it's all not doing very good. So many retail businesses, they're struggling to end the year not losing lots and lots of money. I saw the other day that Walmart, I mean, that's a big company, right? Walmart is having a cash flow problem, that they can't produce enough cash from sales to keep their cash flow going, because there's just so much debt and investments into their stock. Lots of companies are reporting that they're cutting back more and more and more. The list it's almost on a daily basis that there's more and more companies talking about that. Everything's in a slowdown. The real estate market, the auto market, we're hearing all kinds of stuff constantly about the energy markets, of how there's more and more shortages, and it's getting closer and closer on the brink of what, and all that kind of stuff. It's all happening, and then we've got this rail strike, and it's kind of like the big elephant in the room. And if that happens, it could be very catastrophic. And like I said in the last couple of days, whenever I said it, even if a strike happens and it only lasts a short amount of time, I believe that's going to be significant damage. Look at the whole COVID lockdown stuff, of what it did to the supply chain, how it slowed it down enough that, I mean, they still haven't really recovered, and it's still a backlog. Before COVID, it was rare for there to be more than one ship sitting out in the ocean, waiting to unload when it comes to the ports. And now, of course, you all remember, a year or so ago when it peaked, and there was a lot of ships sitting around anchored in the ocean waiting to be unloaded. There's still that problem. It's not nearly as bad, but it still exists. So it shows that we still haven't gotten out of that hole that we were put in as a country. And so, if there's a strike and it lasts for a week or two, that on its own is going to be devastating. It could be the thing that pushes the market. I mean, there's all these really bad possibilities. Maybe it won't be that bad, but I doubt it. I think this could be a pretty significant problem. And, unless something changes, it doesn't look like, other than Congress stepping in and forcing a deal, it doesn't look like there's going to be any kind of resolution. The guy that contacts me, and he's probably watching this video, and I hope that I'm representing what you're telling me correctly. He says that the sentiment with the rail workers is that they're fed up with the mistreatment. They're fed up with, the lack of benefits and the pay increases and all this kind of stuff. They're doing all the work and the companies are making all the money. And he said that, from an individual's point of view, it doesn't really look like there's a whole lot that would bring them to the table to really, work out a resolution. There's just that everyone is kind of got this mindset that they're just going to strike. That's just all it is. They're just waiting for the time that they can do it. So if that's the case, that's, like I said, that's catastrophic for our whole system. And how this will play out, I don't know. Most people think Congress is just going to force them to the table and to avoid a strike, but like this guy said, is that really going to be a solution? You've got to think of the morale killer that is. If Congress gets involved and tells these guys, you have to work and you have to accept this, and it's not going to be good. And I think that there's, either way, like one is bad and the other solution is a lot worse. It's definitely something we should be preparing for, kind of getting our minds ready and our supplies ready. This is why we prep, folks. It's like you hear the weathermen say there's a hurricane headed your way. Well, that's bad. Could be catastrophic, but that's why you do what you do. That's why we prepare. And putting all the pieces together of all the things that are happening in the world, throwing on top of it a rail strike, that's a bad deal. We're going to see the diesel, if it happens, the whole diesel fuel shortage thing. Oh, it's gonna it's gonna explode as a problem. Just a lot of stuff. Winter's coming on. Movement around of coal for electricity. I've already said, you know, 25% of Americans are in jeopardy of losing power this winter. How much higher is that number going to get if the trains aren't pushing enough coal around? Huh? Because, you know, like it or not, a lot of the country's still powered on coal, and they get it by train. Other fuels, whether it's their heating fuels or fuels for your vehicle or fuels for electricity, most of it, a lot of it is moved around on the rail. And so we're talking a pretty bad deal. And I know there's some people that are upset at the rail workers, and well, why would they risk this? They know how bad this would be. I'm not here to choose sides. I've kind of investigated both sides, and I can see both sides, but I also see that usually the people at the bottom of the rung are the ones that's getting the worst deal, and I think that is the situation here. Bottom line is, we got to keep getting prepared, folks. This is not a good deal. I don't think enough people... I think what's happened is, why there's not a lot of people talking about it, why there's not enough focus on it, even within the prepper community, is because this has been dragging out for the last 3 or 4 months. We've been hearing about this all summer and fall. I think a lot of people are just tired of it. They figure it's not going to happen. They've been telling us over and over and over again that there could be a strike, and then this happens and it holds it off, and oh, it could be a strike, and then this happens and it holds it off. And so we've lost interest, because that's what we do. We lose interest in something that, you know, takes too long. We're such an impatient and have such a short attention span. The reality is that it's still a real thing. It still could really, really happen, and it still could be really, really devastating. So we have to continue preparing, getting our houses in order, because it's coming at us faster than you think. December 9th is not that far away. Most people are going to be doing some kind of Thanksgiving, whatever, gathering this week. And then some people are going to go shopping this weekend, and they're going to forget about it. And then next thing you know, weeks pass by, and here it is. It's time for them to either make a decision or go on strike. And if the strike happens, I think it's going to catch a lot of the country off guard, because no one's talking about it. Get ready, folks. It's just, everything's happening. It's all piling up. At some point, that old camel can't take much more of a load, okay? At some point, it's going to give in. And something is going to be the thing that causes the whole house of cards to come crashing down. That's why you got to keep preparing. Get your houses in order. Prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.